Hey everyone, this is Dawn. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make two quick and simple cards using the Kaleidoscope embossing folder, the Joy thin cut, and then later on the small bow thin cut. Okay, so this is the Kaleidoscope embossing folder and the Joy thin cut, the small bow thin cut, and then I'm also going to use for all occasions, use the Merry Christmas sentiment. And then I'm going to use sapphire glitter paper, white glitter paper, white daisy, and candy apple. We're going to make two cards today, okay? And they're quick and simple with white backgrounds. All right, so I'm going to start out by cutting a piece of white daisy at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I'll bring in my big shot. And I'm going to emboss this using the Kaleidoscope embossing folder. So I'm going to slide that white daisy in there. And then I'm going to use tab 2 because on my big shot, the pressure isn't quite enough on the number 1 tab. So depending on your machine, decide how much pressure you need to get the right embossing. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in my Joy thin cut, and I'm going to cut out the word Joy with sapphire glitter paper. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in 2 more pieces of white daisy cardstock and cut Joy out again so that I can stack my sentiment. It just gives it a little more depth and dimension when you stack them. And when you have a thin cut like this, it gives it more substance and stability. Okay, so I'm going to poke out those little bits, and then I'll stack them to see how they look on my card front. And then I'm going to bring in some more sapphire glitter paper, and I'm going to put a bit of this at a diagonal. So I'm going to trim off 3/4 of an inch, and then I'll lay that on my card front. Okay. So this is the process for stacking your thin cuts. And just layer them up, and I like to use Tombow Aqua because it gives you a second to kind of fiddle with them and stack them and line them up. So you just kind of pinch them together and move them around until they're stacked. And just use tiny dots of glue. Pretty simple, but using the wet glue gives you a chance to slide them around and make sure they're stacked up. I wasn't too worried about this because it's going to be on white, so you won't see the layers if they're not exact. Okay, so now we can start building the card. Got a A2 card base, and then I'm just going to lay down that embossed background with Tombow. It's a pretty deep emboss, so I'm not worried too much about using the tape runner on this one. So I'll get that layered, and then I'll add my Joy thin cut, again with Tombow Aqua. Same way, little dots of glue. These are quick and simple cards. And then I'm going to lay down that piece of sapphire glitter paper using Tombow, and I'm letting a little bit hang off each end, and then I'll trim that off just using scissors. Okay, and there's that finished card. Super simple, but I think it's pretty. Some close-up shots. Okay, second card. This one's also quick and simple. So I'm going to cut a piece of white daisy at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I'm going to bring in my big shot. I have this background plate, and I believe it's Tim Holtz. It's from Sizzix, and it's got snowflakes cut in it. So I'm going to run that through my big shot. And then I'm I'm going to poke out all these little snowflake embossed, or not embossed, but cut images. And you can keep some of those little snowflake leftovers, but this is a quick card, so I'm not going to use any of them. Just going to poke everything out. Okay, so that's all done, and then I'm going to cut my bow. So this bow comes in two dies, and use them both together. So I'm going to cut some candy apple cardstock, and then I'll show you the quick assembly of this bow. So you just take this rounded one and you kind of bend, don't fold, and pinch in the center. And I'm just using glue dots to connect everything. So you just layer them at the back and put those two pieces together. And then you layer it on this other piece that are like the ends of the ribbon dovetailed. And then you take that centerpiece and bend it around. And just use glue dots to pinch everything together. Okay? Cute little bow. Make all different colors. All right, so now I've got a piece of white glitter paper, and that's cut at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and my card base. So I'm going to lay the glitter paper down using Tombow tape runner, and then I'm going to lay that snowflake cut piece over that, and I'm going to use the Tombow white glue. This is a thicker, sticky glue, and it works when you're layering cardstock on top of glitter paper. Okay, so I've just got little thin dots and lines. I'll lay that down on top of my glitter paper. And then I'm going to stamp my sentiment. So I have this die, it's a stitched banner die, and it's from My Favorite Things, but you could hand cut and dovetail each of the ends. Cut this out. I've got my Merry Christmas sentiment stamped in black ink, and then I'll run that through, and now we're ready to complete the assembly. So I'm going to add my sentiment using some thin foam tape. And I'm also going to do the same design and put this at an angle, and then I'll add that bow with a glue dot. Super simple, but I think it turned out really pretty. Some close-up shots in a second. So all of these supplies are available in my online store. I'll make a list with links in the description below, and I'll also note the 2 items that I use that are not Close to My Heart branded. I appreciate you watching my video today. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button, and then you'll be able to find all of my videos. And thanks for watching.